Scorpio, listen to me very carefully for a moment, because what I'm about to say is not small and it's not random. A stranger's financial blessing is moving in your direction, and it is bigger than you expect. This isn't pocket change energy. This is shift your shoulders, breathe deeper, sleep better at night energy. The fact that your eyes landed on this message in this exact moment of your life is already a sign that something in the unseen has started to rearrange itself around your name. You are not here by accident. You were guided here, pulled here, called here. There is a frequency wrapped around this reading, and if your spirit has been restless, if you've been feeling that strange mix of exhaustion and hope at the same time, then that frequency is already touching you. Maybe you can feel it in your body right now. A tingling in your hands, a softness in your chest, a shift in your breath. That isn't drama. That isn't your imagination trying to entertain you. That's recognition. Your soul knows when something is meant for you, long before your mind is ready to understand it. Earlier, as I sat in stillness preparing for this reading, I shuffled the deck slowly, breathing you in, calling in the energy of Scorpio, the phoenix, the alchemist, the one who turns ashes into gold. The cards that came out were not casual. The Six of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, Justice, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Star revealed themselves like a sequence, not a prediction for someday, but a story about a blessing already in motion, searching for the person whose light matches it. Again and again the message was the same. There is a financial gift connected to a stranger or distant connection that is being prepared in the background of your life, and the way you respond now will either open the door wider or let it pass you by. Scorpio, you are not new to giving. You've poured from empty cups, lent time, energy, love, support, money, even when you were the one who needed help the most. You've listened to people at 3 in the morning, sent messages checking on others when no one checked on you, covered someone's bill, donated quietly, sent money you really couldn't spare, or gave someone a chance when everyone else had already written them off. There were moments in your story where you chose compassion instead of revenge, generosity instead of bitterness, understanding instead of judgment. And no one saw it. No one thanked you. No one clapped. But the universe did. Life did. Something higher than you was watching you choose light in a world that kept handing you shadow, and those moments were not deleted just because people forgot them. They were recorded, stored, kept. That is where this blessing begins. The Six of Pentacles in your reading is not about charity in the way we usually think of it. It is about a sacred exchange, about balance returning after a long time of feeling like everything was tilted against you. It shows a hand giving and a hand receiving, and in your case, those hands are not two different people. They are different versions of you. A past you gave from a place of scarcity, and a future you is being lined up to receive from a place of overflow. The Wheel of Fortune turning next to it is the cosmic signal that this isn't just a nice thought. It's a shift of direction. A cycle you thought would never end is being interrupted. Where things felt stuck, closed, stagnant, there is a subtle but undeniable sense that movement is finally coming in. And justice, sitting there like a quiet guardian, is saying, this is not a favor. This is not random luck. This is the rebalancing of something that should have been right a long time ago. For some of you, this blessing is literally connected to paperwork. Banking, contracts, settlements, refunds, old accounts, legal processes, or decisions being made behind closed doors with your name in the file. For others, it may appear through a person you don't know well or don't remember clearly. A client of a client, a friend of a friend, someone who heard your name in a room you were not in and decided, I want to help them, or I owe them something, or I feel drawn to send something their way. This is why the energy feels like a stranger's blessing, because on the human level, it looks like a stranger. On the soul level, it is the echo of a connection you made long ago, An act of kindness, a silent prayer, a moment of mercy, circling back in a new form. The Ace of Pentacles tells me clearly that this is not symbolic only. This is material. This is money, support, opportunity, stability, something you can touch. It may begin as a deposit, a transfer, a bonus, a discount, a paid-off debt, a new client, a door that suddenly opens, or an opportunity that changes your financial trajectory bit by bit. It may not show up as a dramatic lottery win, it may come in stages. But here's the key, it will feel bigger than you expected, not just in amount, but in weight. It will feel like relief, like a heavy stone that's been sitting on your chest for years, finally being lifted. Like you can rest a little deeper, finally exhale, finally stop doing panic math in your head before you go to sleep. And Scorpio, let's be honest, you've been carrying more than your share. You've done mental calculations over bills no one else even knows exist. You've wondered quietly how much longer you can hold everything together. You've asked yourself if the sacrifices you've made have been worth it. If anyone up there is really paying attention, or if you're just shouting prayers into an indifferent sky. This message is a soft but clear answer. No, you were never shouting into emptiness. You have been seen, you have been tracked, you have been remembered. When the star appears at the end of this sequence, it doesn't just say hope. It says, your story is not over here, your story is turning here. Astrologically, your sign is ruled by Pluto, the architect of deep transformation and hidden power. Scorpio energy doesn't do shallow blessings. It doesn't play with surface-level change. When the universe touches a Scorpio's life, it is rarely just about money. It is about identity, trust, rebirth. This stranger's financial blessing may arrive through an external situation, but the deeper part of the miracle is internal. It is about the way you begin to trust again, the way you start believing that you're not cursed, not forgotten, not always destined to be the strong one, holding everything with no help. The way your nervous system slowly starts to learn what safety feels like. I want you right now, if you feel something in this message tugging at you, to use your voice or your fingers as a spiritual key. Say out loud or type in the comments, I am open to the blessing that was always mine, or I receive the financial relief that aligns with my highest good. Not because these words magically force something to happen, but because they tune your energy to allow what has already been set in motion to actually reach you. So many times, Scorpio, your blessings have stood at the door while your doubt kept all the locks engaged. This time you are being asked to do something radical, not to chase, not to control, but to receive. There is something delicate about the timing around you now. Think of it like a delivery window in the spiritual realm. The energy around a financial breakthrough, especially one connected to karmic return, is a bit like a live signal. It has to be received while the line is open. If fear convinces you that this could never be for me, if shame tells you I don't deserve good things, if the old story in your head repeats, every time I hope I get disappointed, then the line begins to weaken. Not because you're being punished, but because your energy steps out of the frequency of receiving and back into the frequency of expecting loss. That is why awareness matters. That is why this moment matters. In the days ahead, pay attention to the subtle cues that your blessing is drawing near. Sudden nudges to check an account, emails from institutions you had forgotten about, messages from people you haven't spoken to in years, conversations about money or opportunities that seem to come out of nowhere, paperwork you are reminded to complete, or even recurring dreams about finding something you thought you lost. These are hints, not guarantees, but they are worth noticing. Don't brush them off. Don't say it's nothing. You have dismissed your intuition so many times to protect yourself from disappointment. This chapter is asking you to treat your intuition as a partner instead of an enemy. At the same time, Scorpio, this blessing is not arriving to make you dependent on miracles. It is arriving to help you build a new foundation. When money finally starts to move in your favor, you're being invited not just to spend it, but to honor it. Ask yourself, if this stranger's blessing truly arrives, what story do I want it to tell in my life? Does it become a temporary bandage, or does it become the beginning of a new chapter of stability? You don't need a 10-step financial plan to answer that. Start small. Commit to using a portion of it to create breathing room, paying off something that has been suffocating you. Commit another portion, even a small one, to something that nourishes your future. Savings, education, a tool, a seed investment in something that matters to you. And yes, if your heart leads you, commit a part to blessing someone else one day, in your own way, so that the river that reached you never runs dry. Because here is the deeper truth. This stranger's financial blessing is not just about you receiving. It is about you becoming a channel. Life has watched you give while empty. Now life wants to see what you will do when you are no longer in pure survival mode. Will you finally rest? Will you finally say no to the people and patterns that keep draining you? Will you allow yourself to enjoy what comes, instead of immediately feeling guilty about it? This is inner work, not outer performance. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why your season is changing. You do, however, owe it to yourself to protect your peace as it changes. You may notice, too, that as this energy of financial blessing builds, some people around you react strangely. Scorpio, your glow has always made certain people uncomfortable. When doors start opening for you, when you begin to breathe easier, their own unhealed scarcity can get loud. They may suddenly remember you when they need something. They may question whether you really deserve what you're receiving. Do not let that pull you back into shrinking. You are not required to drag everyone with you into your new chapter. You can be kind and still have boundaries. You can be generous and still say no. You can be grateful and still choose to keep some things private until you feel ready to share. Through all of this, remember that your worth is not being measured by the numbers in your account. The universe is not finally deciding that you matter because more money is in the picture. No. This blessing is an echo, not a verdict. It is the world catching up to what has always been true about your spirit. And that is why, even as we speak of money and documents and strangers and transfers, I need to say this clearly. This message is an energetic mirror, not a legally binding promise. It is a reflection of a possible timeline, a story about how kindness, faith, and alignment can circle back in ways we don't see coming. It is meant to remind you that you are allowed to hope again, not to guarantee any specific outcome in the physical world. If this speaks to your soul, take the parts that feel like home and let them strengthen you. If it doesn't, let it move past you the way a cloud moves across the sky, noticed but not clung to. Because the real power here, Scorpio, is not in the idea that a stranger's money is coming. The real power is in the part of you that dares to believe that life can still surprise you beautifully after everything you've been through. The part of you that refuses to let past disappointments harden your heart completely. The part of you that, even when tired, still whispers, maybe this time it will be different. That whisper is holy. That whisper is why blessings keep trying to find you. And the more you honor it, with your thoughts, your choices, your willingness to receive, the easier it becomes for the unseen to meet you halfway. And if at any point your mind starts to argue with this, listing every reason you're the exception, every time things didn't work out before, meet that voice with gentle firmness. You are not required to erase your past to step into a kinder future. You are only asked not to make your past the only evidence you believe. Begin building tiny rituals that match the life you're calling in. Write down 3 things each day that already support your stability, no matter how small. Speak to your money with respect instead of fear. Thank the blessing before you see it, not because you're pretending, but because gratitude is how you keep your heart open without forcing any specific outcome. The more you live as if you are supported, the easier it becomes to recognize the moments when you actually are. So as you finish this message, take one more slow breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Place your hand over your heart and remind yourself, I am not forgotten. I am not behind. I am allowed to receive good things. Let those words soak into all the places inside you that learn to expect the opposite. And as you move through the next days and weeks, walk as if something kind is looking for you, because it is. Whether the blessing arrives as money, opportunity, support, or simply a deep inner peace about your future, know this: you are not standing in an empty field. You are standing in a garden you planted years ago, often in tears. And now, Scorpio, the soil is finally ready to give something back.